Hi everyone and welcome back to TS Talk Sport. Hope you're all doing good, keeping safe. Now in this one, just doing a preview of our upcoming Europa League game against Molde. Molde will be coming into this game with some level of confidence. They're coming in off the back of a 3-0 win away against a team called Stabæk, which I'll be honest, I've never heard of them before. Arsenal coming into this game needing a result after the 0-0 draw away at Leeds, and prior to that, getting absolutely embarrassed at home against Aston Villa in the game which we lost 3-0. You know, due to injuries and, some positive COVID tests, I feel that a couple of the players that are playing weekly within the under 23s, may need to travel for this game. Not saying directly that they'll need to start, but they may need to travel just in case anyone starting picks up an injury. Obviously, in the last game, we lost Willian to injury. We also lost Saka to injury. Pepe would be eligible to play this game because his ban will only be in English competitions, and he'd probably be expected to play this game, so that none of our attacking players that could play within that position probably don't get injured ahead of, Wolves and then Spurs, which would be our next couple of Premier League games. Going into this game, I would like to see a couple changes. I'd like to see a couple players rested ahead of Wolves. And I'll get straight into my starting 11 for you. Firstly, in goal, I'll go with Runnison. I think he's only played one game so far. And I've seen, obviously, so far with the Carabao Cup and stuff, Leno's been preferred to him. And, that shows that obviously Arteta's taking things seriously, which is good. But at the same time, we kind of need to see... I kind of want to see Runnison tested, You think about last season when Martinez needed to come in. I think many fans didn't expect him to have the impact which he did, but many of us had seen him play, these Europa League games, Carabao Cup games, which we had a certain level of expectation and a bit of confidence from him. God forbid if Leno was to get injured any day now, we're not sure what Runnison is capable of doing. Would he even be the best second choice? Is he that much better than, let's say, a Matt Macy? So these are things that need to be taken into account. But yeah, for this game, I'd go with Runnison in goal. In the back four, I'd go with Ainsley Maitland-Niles at right back. Barely featured at all this season. Come off the bench with 3 minutes to go the other day. Towards the end of last season, and in that Community Shield game, was doing the job playing as, a left wing back, but ain't seen much of him this season. Not too sure what's going on there. But I'd like to see him playing this game, and I'd like to see him as the right back. The centre-half partnership I'd go for in this game would be Holding and Mustafi. I'd like to give Gabriel a bit of a rest. Again, he's another key player that, we can't afford to risk him getting an injury. And, we're 9 points already into this group. I think if we beat Molde, we're more or less secured that we'll qualify from this group. So I feel Gabriel can be rested for this game, and that Holden and Mustafi are compatible enough to do a job. Obviously, I would have liked to have seen Saliba in there, but he's not in the Europa League squad. And truth be told, for the Wolves game coming up at the weekend, I want to see him, if he's not starting, I want to see him on the bench at least. I want to see him integrated within to the first team side now. I think many fans feel that he can't be any worse than what we're seeing from some of our defenders, e.g. Rob Holding. And, if he isn't that good, you should have sent him out on loan. So I think he has to be integrated into the side. And, obviously he can't do that in the Europa League. So I think Wolves at the weekend would be a good first game for him. Like I said, that could even be him being a substitute in that game. Going into left back, I'd go with Kieran Tierney. A lot of talk about his actions after the game against Leeds, but to me, he's a leader, man. He is on this no nonsense stuff. I think one thing that a lot of people forget about Tierney is, the lad's a natural, winner. He's won so much stuff at Celtic. He's still at such a young age, but, he's got such a great winning mentality. And you know what? Sooner or later, you've got to give this guy the armband because he's someone that I would say definitely leads by example. Going into the midfield, it's probably going to have to be the same midfield that played against Leeds, which would be, the Xhaka, Ceballos pivot and Joe Willock a bit further ahead. I think the only thing I'd like to see in terms of that midfield is maybe at times Willock drops into the pivot and Ceballos floats ahead and, does a bit more in terms of the creative side. That's all I'd like to see. Or even Willock drops in and they're kind of like a midfield three, with Xhaka in the middle and then Tobias and Willock either side of him. That's something I'd like to see going into this game. But either way, I think that midfield three is good enough for doing a job. And then playing off that left-hand side, I want to see Emile Smith-Rowe come into the side, obviously. Saka's injured. Aubameyang, yes, he's not on best of form, but I would still like to see him given a rest ahead of the Wolves game. He had that situation during the international break where, they were stuck in the airport for hours, and I don't think he came back to London till quite late before, the Leeds game. I know it's still a couple of days, but still, you've got to adapt to the time zones and stuff. So I'd like to see him given a rest. And, like I mentioned, Saka and Willian plays we lost at the weekend. So I'd like to see Smith Rowe on that left-hand side, gives him an opportunity. And, all he can do is prove himself with an opportunity. And obviously, if he's not given opportunities within the first team after doing well in games like this, fans will be calling to see more from him. So I think that's all Smith Rowe can do. And I think keeping himself fit, that's one of the only concerns of Emile, is that he tends to, play a few games and then he picks up a knock here, picks up a knock there, which doesn't really seem to help him in terms of his development. So hopefully that's something that doesn't set him back much more. On the right-hand side, I want to see Reece Nelson. All I've got to say is if he plays in this game and he takes corners, I actually want to see them go into the box. All of this not clearing the first man is dreadful. That's the only way to describe it. Dreadful crossing. And, I want to see a positive performance from him. I think the best performance I've seen from Reece this season was against Leicester in the Carabao Cup. And yeah, man, I just want to see him get on the ball, driving at players. And, when he's doing that, he looks really effective. And yeah, that's what I expect from Reece. And then up top, Eddie Nketiah to lead the line. It's a tough one for Eddie, he hasn't fully impressed a lot of the times he has played. And you know what, I think he's got a decision to make maybe in January, that if he's not getting enough minutes between now and January, that maybe he goes on loan to the end of the season. I can understand why he stayed this season. He got many minutes towards the end of last season ahead of Lacazette. But, he's got to look about it for his own personal development. Maybe he needs to go somewhere just to play week in, week out. And, the club can make a decision. If you believe he's good enough to do a job for the club, get behind him. If not, the summer comes and, it might be a situation you got to cash in on him, And he's a player that, not saying I'd want to sell Eddie Nketiah right now, but as an example, if we had to sell someone like an Eddie, a player to generate funds, I'm sure we could get 25 million plus for him. We look at Liverpool sold Brewster, no Premier League experience. If we're a club that's meant to be about business, in a situation, if we had to sell a player like that, I'm sure we could command a decent fee for him. But, I want to see a good game from Eddie, hopefully get on the score sheet, maybe bag 2. And yeah, that's what I'd like to see, man. I feel, with that sort of team, there's certain players you could have on the bench, like, Leno, Bellerin, Chambers, Mari. I'd like to see Miguel Aziz and Ben Cottrell travel for this game also. You can have Lacazette, Pepe and Balogun on the bench, Who knows, potentially Pepe will probably end up starting this game, but for me, I feel the team that I've put out there is good enough to win. I'm good enough to win this game relatively comfortably, I would say. I'd go with a score prediction of 3-1 Arsenal. This is this sort of team, I feel like we can definitely, be more on the front foot and, go at Molde. And, that's what fans want to see at the end of the day. There is certain games that we have to play that sort of football where, you got to kind of, sit back, soak up the pressure and hit teams on the counter. And there's some teams that, not even to disrespect them, that you just got to go and put it on them. And to me, Molde's one of those sides. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it, on the game. That's my preview, predicted starting 11, or the 11 I would go with for that game. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you haven't already done so, go hit that subscribe button now. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.